you know you look good, and that just adds to your confidence.
Hey babes,
I'm Madeline.
and I'm Deja.
And welcome back to the Elegance Exchange. So this is going to be the first video of, probably about a 3-part series where we basically explain to you how to appear more elegant and put together. So today we're kind of focusing on the physical aspects, so like how you dress, the way you present yourself, things like that. And then, I don't know, you'll have to go tune into our other episodes to see what we talk about there.
Some fun, exciting things coming up.
Yes, for sure. So I think we're gonna start off with, I don't know, I always see an elegant person, and one of the first things I notice is their nails are always done. And I don't mean they're like, done to the nines, they have like gemstones on everything, Like I think truly an elegant person has, just like your normal nails, and they're just manicured. They're not like a crazy neon green or not a crazy, hot pink. They're, like white, nude, light pink.
Yeah, they're like, what's the word?
They don't draw your eye, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's not to say if you like that, then, you should change that. It's just what we tend to notice,
They're more subtle, if anything. Like, they're not as, like, boom, in your face. And if anything, I was looking at, I was watching this video, actually, and this girl mentioned, one of the first things you look at when you're meeting someone is, like, are their hands. Because we use our hands for everything. And so, like, the nails are always the first thing that, catch people's eyes and stuff.
Especially if you are in the business world and you are constantly shaking people's hands, you're always looking at somebody's hands whenever you go to shake them. So it's like you want to have, a very manicured appearance with that, because, I don't know, I think that can say a lot about who you are and how you take care of yourself. And then I also think that elegance is kind of quiet, right? If you see somebody who's super loud, you don't typically phrase them as elegant. Or if you see somebody who's super quiet, they're elegant. So that's kind of the same thing with your nails, the way you dress, Meghan Markle would always talk about how she would wear the nude light colors because they make you blend in, quote unquote, more. And I don't know, I think if you have elegance, you stand out in your own way, but having elegance is so uncommon these days.
I feel like it is. It's kind of like
that. You stand out in your own way.
Yeah, I feel like as we get older, the concept of it kind of just continues to slim down.
Yeah, and I think if you have simple clothing pieces, so, maybe you have a capsule wardrobe, which is basically where you pull, some just outfit pieces that are all, similar colors, they all go together. So, like, for example, I constantly wear black, blue, white, and cream, and that's pretty much all my closet is. But then I have some staple pieces, like for, this blue shirt, that's my staple piece. Having, your capsule wardrobe and then having a few good quality statement pieces is something that can really take your outfits to the next level.
And we're not saying, like, you have to, like, dim it down to, like, all those, like, the neutral colors. Like, Madeline was saying, like, the statement pieces. Even, like, what I'm wearing now, like, most of my closet is, like, I guess now that it's spring, they're kind of like those light pastels. But then, like, every now and then I have, like, my red and my black and white. I think, if any, it's just, like, you have to make it look put together.
And keep it timeless. I think, in today's society, we get so caught up with trends. We get so caught up with, oh, well, she's wearing this milkmaid dress, so I have to wear it. No, wear things that you feel like are going to stay timeless for years to come. I want you, whenever you go buy a piece, right? You go buy a piece of clothing. I want you to inspect it and be like, can I wear this 5 years from now? Like, if I buy this, is it going to go out of style in 5 years, or will it still be classic and timeless? Because, honestly, that saves you money as well.
It does. That's my biggest thing whenever I'm looking at shirts. I don't usually buy myself clothes. Like, if I'm going clothes shopping for myself, I have to look at it and I have to, like, actually love it. Because I know for a fact if I do not love it,
no, you won't wear it.
I'm not going to wear it. And then, like you said, with, like, the 5 years to come, like, I don't buy a lot of clothes. If you're, like, anything like me, you're kind of like, I have a t-shirt, that's all I need. Like, I'm good for a few days. So you kind of just need to, find something that you're going to wear. And then, like, you have to be okay with wearing it in the long run,
Yeah, and I mean, dress for your destiny, right? So I saw this phrase whenever I was researching, and I think it's so interesting because, how many people do you see on the street who are just in jeans and a t-shirt now? not to say that that's not okay, you know, everybody levels it up in their own way. But if you want to become something, you have to put your mind into what you want to become. So I think, you know, dressing for, say you want to be a lawyer, okay? Or a lawyer, sorry, I said that weird. Say you want to be a lawyer, right? You are going to constantly, you know, dress well because you might run into your coworkers, or you might run into, you know, situations where you need to handle something right away, but what happens if you're not dressed for it? It comes across as unprofessional. Or, you know,
even like business meetings too. Like if you have a job interview and you know, you're going into the job interview and you're wearing like the clothes you're not supposed to, like you're just putting on a random t-shirt, or your shirt's wrinkled, or like a random pair of jeans, like obviously they're gonna look at you and be like, you know, I know it's been, I don't want to say it's been trending on TikTok, but I ended up on like the office siren, you know, like that office siren trend.
No.
And then someone, I guess, recently lost her job because she wore like an office siren, the office siren outfit to her job, and they were like, that is not professional.
No. Well, and I don't know, I think if you want to be comfortable wearing it in front of your family or you're, you know, a kid, maybe reevaluate and be like, okay, maybe I should throw on a jacket, or, you know, things like that. And that's not to say, you know, there is a time and a place for everything, right? So, you know, for example, don't go to work in a mini skirt. Like,
exactly.
It's not going to end well for you. But, you know, maybe it's a really hot day and you're going to the beach. Wear those shorts if you need to. But, I don't know, I think it's just kind of how you carry yourself, too. So, you know, also, if you are, if you do wear a more simplistic outfit, which is very timeless and very elegant, you know, there are ways to dress it up to make it even more just, like, not in your face, but just even more
you kind of like, it's
classic
like that,
and beautiful.
Yeah, it's kind of like that finishing touch. Like, that's how I always look at my jewelry. I'm always putting on some type of gold jewelry just because it adds, like, that little touch to it, you know?
Watches complete the look. Anytime I see somebody who's wearing a watch, I'm like, oh, you're put together. Which is very interesting to think about it. Or, like, you know, a necklace or earrings.
Even a cute little bracelet. Like, just those little things can elevate and make you look so much, you know, put together. You know what I'm saying?
I often find that, like, in the early 2000s, you know, it was very prominent for us to have those giant necklaces.
I think even now, like, the
maximalist.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine if that's what you're going for. But for a more elegant approach, you definitely don't want to tune into the, like, super big necklaces. Also, lots of rings. 1 or 2 rings is beautiful. You know, a few rings is okay. But you don't want, like, 3 rings on every single finger.
And then I think also, like, I feel like when we look at someone that looks very put together, they also, you know, it sounds really weird, but they, like, smell good,
like
you know?
They can, like, walk past you and you catch, like, a little whiff. It's not, like, boom in your face, but you definitely get a little bit.
That little whiff, and then you smell and you're like, you just, like, look at them and, like, dang, not only do you look really good, but, like, you smell really good. Like, that's kind of the vibe that you want to go. Like, you want to find a perfume that, like, makes you feel you.
Your personal hygiene is so important, and it's something that, you know, everybody can tell. You want to make sure you're brushing your teeth. You want to make sure that your hair is brushed. You want to make sure that your skin is, you know, washed and ready for the day. And I think if you also, you know, if you are running late one day and you don't have time to fully get ready, either do your hair or do your makeup. Don't do both if you're running out of time, right? Because we have seen, you know, the trend of a messy bun. That right now is considered fairly timeless.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if your makeup is done and you do a messy bun, it can look purposely intentional. So if your makeup's done, then it looks intentional. But if your makeup isn't done, then it looks like, oh, okay, she
just got out of bed.
Right. Or if, you know, your hair is done really well and then your makeup, you don't have any makeup on, then it's like, oh, okay, she's going for a very natural, like, barefaced look today. People don't assume that, oh, like, she didn't have time to get ready.
Yeah. And even when I was, like, growing up, my grandma, she always told me, like, always add a bit of lipstick. Like, always add something to your lips because, you know, you want to add a bit of a pop. You want to make it look like, you know, you're put together a little bit.
You're healthy. You're glowing. I think we have definitely learned that in the past few episodes. Whenever we first started out, I would do, like, a very light, neutral lip, and you wouldn't notice it. And I looked sickly. So now, you know, I noticed it and I wear darker lips.
Or even if you don't like the whole like lipstick because like you're like me and it's like a little too
Right.
thick, you can always just put on some lip gloss and that kind of gives it that
Absolutely.
like hydrating look, you know?
Absolutely. And also, I think something that is so beautiful and so timeless, and it also depends on the occasion, is showing off your collarbones just a little bit. I think elegant women always, you know, show a little bit of their collarbones, but it's not, you know, it's not like you are so in your face about it, right? So like a little bit of mine are peeking through, a little bit of Deja's are peeking through, but it's not like boom in your face.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's so beautiful. It's so classy, and it just, I don't know, it's just such like a feminine
I think it brings out confidence.
feature.
Like
Absolutely.
it just looks like you're very confident in yourself. It kind of adds that aspect, like, you know, like you feel like you look good, you know that you look good,
Right.
and that's kind of, you know.
You know you look good, and that just adds to your confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know, I think these are all some physical traits that elegant women possess. And, you know, you might already have some of these things. You might want to take some notes of some things. You know, we still have our own journey to go through. But I hope that this was at least a little bit helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we're on
a bunch of different platforms. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
That was the last one.
So yeah, it's all just at the Elegance Exchange. Super nice and simple. And then we also usually have our link tree linked in the bio.
Mhm.
So that way you don't even have to go search it up. But yeah. Alright. We love you, babes.
Bye.